Good afternoon. It is June 22nd, 2026. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Will Alimonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are we doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? We have disaster in a Texas neighborhood. A truck overturns, releases 2 million bees. That's right, 2 million bees. The neighborhood, they're told, stay inside for safety. Can you think of a worse thing for a truck to be carrying to turn over in your neighborhood than 2 million bees?
Are bees that aggressive?
They definitely sting you. I know that for sure. I'm more concerned about the number, because now you're dealing with a swarm of bees. You know, I can handle one bee. I'm pretty good. One bee, no problem. Maybe two. We get beyond two. It's hard to track these. We're talking 2 million. I mean, that's a swarm. That's all over the place. You don't get stung once. You get your whole arm is stung.
For sure, if you're in the mix of all of it, but they're not like penetrating cars or houses.
Are you sure?
No, but I also think that they're kind of like, you know, the ducks fly together thing. It's like wherever the queen goes, stay away from the queen, and you should be fine.
Now I just got Mighty Ducks stuck in my head. Of ducks fly together, and I'm trying to think of something witty for bees. Bees fly together. Bzzz.
They already did a bee movie. It was a weird romantic adult movie with cartoons. It's a Seinfeld thing. I think you had to be there to understand it. Zach, we have an NBA draft tomorrow.
I was there, and I still don't understand it.
I still. Are we going to talk about the B movie? Have we reached summer topics?
I was there. I remember it. I remember being a Seinfeld thing. I think it was they even talked about it on 30 Rock. I never saw it. It is news to me that it is romantic. So I learned something today.
That's the weird part about it, though, is that it's an odd romance between a bee and a human. Hey, we got a draft tomorrow. Should we move on to that? Enough summer topics?
We can move on to that. It's kind of surprising. Snuck up on me for sure. It's been on Thursday. I thought forever, and so a little surprised that it got moved to Tuesday.
We're on notice. We're both checking every second we can on the Shams alert, as it seems pretty clear that Giannis is going to be traded before the draft, which makes sense for Milwaukee to know what they're getting now with the current way the lottery is set up as well. It seems like it's a little bit more of a gamble going forward, so you could immediately figure out those picks this year under the old rules. It hasn't happened. I'm hitting refresh. It seems like we got Giannis. It seems like he's going to Boston. I would almost be shocked at this point if he does not end up in Boston. The Miami trade is, again, it wasn't good enough to get Dame. It doesn't seem like it's good enough to get Giannis. It seems like there's going to be some sort of after effects of the second this is announced. What do you want to happen here? Are you out on Giannis still? Like you're done? You hate all of this? This has been punishing all day?
It hasn't been punishing all day. It's just you and I are just very much divided on. I want to keep the Jays together. It sounds like the latest deal is going to be Giannis and Kuzma, with Kuzma more of, hey, this is the tax to have to get Giannis, and then the Celtics side having to give up Hugo, who was a first rounder last year, and the 27th pick this year, our first rounder this year, where it seems like it's almost like it's got to be one or the other. Like, we have to sweeten it a little bit with some first round picks, or if you're going to throw in, Kuzma into this, then, you don't get these extra little goodies over on the side. But I was stuck with, I want Jaylen, want to stay. I was happy over the weekend when I saw the odds. You said you've been refreshing X. I've been refreshing the Kalshi page with the Giannis odds, where over the weekend it very much was like, this is Miami. Celtics are bowing out. Awesome. Today it has not reversed, but it has come where the Celtics are ahead. As I'm looking at it right now, I mean, Will, we're about as close to a coin flip as you can get. Kalshi is saying that Celtics are 50%, Miami 43%, with the last little bit being he stays with the Bucks or retires, which it's happening. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be Miami or whether it's going to be Boston. My concern is just those are basically the only two options. Miami is not giving up Bam, so their package is around Hero, and it's just going to be other stuff. It seems like it's a poo-poo platter. I trust Brad to get the job done. But my concern is we are going to come out of this and it's going to be, hey, we got Giannis. Awesome. Cool. awesome player. We're gonna need some. We're gonna need a center. So rather than just kind of like bolster that, it's like we're gonna get one of the best. And then all of a sudden we're gonna look like, why did we give up all of this stuff? Like Milwaukee has to get rid of this guy. So I think we should be going like bare bones here,
What would you like to give up then?
straight up,
Just straight up.
straight up. No, you don't get Hugo. You don't get the first. I think it seems like more recently, and I don't know if it's just been more the way our team has been constructed, but that we've been relatively successful on these later first round and early second round picks, where if you could just even get these guys in the rotation, that's pretty good. And Hugo has been in and out, Shireman in and out, but I think they're at least in the mix down the way. And I think especially with this whole second apron and how much you can pay guys, you really need these. I'm going to call them fringe guys that they don't make much money, but they aren't just absolute messes on the court. Where we have right now. We have the Jays, 2 max guys, and even if we trade for Giannis, we're still going to have 2 max guys. So we're going to have to paper this together with some of these young guys that outplay what their contract is.
I agree with the young guy thing. It's just easier to fit when you're maxing out everything else. But I also feel that if that's all we're giving up is something at the end of the bench, I don't think that's a reason to say no. I think we could.
But see, and this is where we separate. Where I don't want it to happen, so I'm looking at it as I want to give up less. But you're the one that wants the trade to happen. So what are you willing to give up? Say that was the offer that we shot out there, and Milwaukee said, no, not quite. And makes sense. It's a negotiation. If they added more in, at what level are you saying no? Is it another first round pick? Is it a pick swap? Is it Derek White?
No.
What's your level that this is too far?
We're waiting on whether or not we're going to accept Kyle Kuzma or not. That's the only holdup. I guess is they're trying to dump Kuzma on us, who will be expiring next year. He is what he is for this year. I have my doubts on his playoff abilities, regardless of what you can get out of him in the regular season, and whether or not putting enough of a culture around him is actually going to make any damn difference at all. I think it's just all about the Kuzma money. I think that's the only thing holding up everything right now, is that they're trying to dump the Kuzma money.
And you are the worst person to ask this. Is he still dating one of the Kardashians?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Like I said, it's a very important question on his future success, but you are not the right person to ask.
Hold on. Did I take a victory lap on the Taylor Swift thing? Did we do that yet?
I brought it up and I put it for you on a tee, and then either you didn't bring it up or you didn't take the Sasbury victory lap. Feel free to take it right now.
I knew what I was talking about. Apparently, I know who's Knicks fans, which is everybody when they're winning, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want the honest thing to happen. I don't see another center for us to get out there that'll be available that would be the right price. It doesn't seem like we're going to be able to piece this sort of together. And it seems like the other guys are going to be too old or too expensive. And if it's going to be too expensive, I'd rather be honest if it's going to be old and expensive, because I don't think the other options are better. I think we need an actual threat. Otherwise, we just don't have enough. I don't think Tatum and Brown are going to be able to match the physicality of what I just saw in the finals. And we're going to have a whole regular season distract us from everything. But you got to remember what the games looked like in the finals. The grabbing, just everything goes. I don't think we have the team built for that. And I think with Giannis, we're a little bit closer to being built more like that. And that's why I would do it. I also think Brown.
I just think that and it's right off of the finals. So, but I still think that the Knicks are going to be one of the teams that we have to get through, and that us having the big wings that we have to go against the Knicks, I think that's right where we want to be. I think that we've beaten up on Cat. We can get him in rotations, and we can go right past him. The same way he was able to kind of get past Wemby. It's crazy that Cat was the smaller, quicker guy in that effort. But we've tried that before, and it 2 years ago it worked in the regular season, and then it did not work down the stretch. I think maybe we matchup hunted a little too much, but that getting over that hump is not a concern.
I just look at all the other competition out there of teams that will be competing for a championship, and I like their centers more than any of ours. All of them. I mean,
that's for sure. We went in this bare bones this year. I don't even think people thought that that Cato was going to finish the year, and he had a respectable regular season for what
Uh,
the expectations are for what he's getting paid. I, that's the angle. That's the angle if you keep the Jays together. If you get rid of Jaylen and you bring Giannis in, well, then you're gonna have to fill in that small forward position and figure out what you're gonna do with that.
Hugo, Shireman, Derek White. We could play Pritchard more. It just slide it over. I think it's that easy. I don't think it's that hard. I actually think we could even be a better defensive team out of it. Now is the versatility different? Yeah, but I also think we're going to have so many more bailout situations of Giannis just getting us easier baskets, which Jaylen doesn't do. It's a whole lot of weight on his shoulders for him to get the easy baskets because they're not that easy. They're tough shots. I think Giannis getting easier baskets just makes us better defensively and better offensively, and is way more of a relief. I also think he rebounds better than all these guys because they're never going to play together. What's the play where Jaylen and Tatum are on offense together and that they actually operate as a threat together? It's your turn, my turn. And then the other guy should go rebound. Well, if the other guy's just going to go rebound, it might as well be Giannis. How many coaches are we going to go through and see the same thing over and over again? So don't tell me that it's like, we'll do it different this year. No, that's just how the guys are.
Do you see some sort of interaction between Tatum and Giannis that is larger than the just the sum of the parts?
Yeah, well, I think they're both better rebounds ultimately. So if it is your turn, my turn, at least you're getting a better rebounder on the other end than what you get out of Brown.
We were one of the top rebounding teams in the league this year.
I'm
it
glad.
Started off really rough.
Hold on to that regular season, man, because that will put a banner up for it. It's not the same.
Well, come on. You could say that to like every single one of my arguments. I could do the same thing to you for every one of your arguments. I'm just trying to use the regular season as, hey, here's an actual like large sample size, and then you get to the playoffs and they change the rules, and that's a much smaller sample size.
I just don't want to be fooled by the regular season. I feel like you're being fooled by last year's success. It wasn't good enough. It was surpassing our expectations. Absolutely, we should have been out of the playoffs, and instead we were a 2 seed.
I'm just saying, I don't think that rebounding turned out, after the first 2 weeks to a month, it did not turn out to be the absolute disaster area that it started as. So I just don't know if that should be the main point. I think it was. I think you're adding that to bolster your argument of, hey, you have Giannis. And then so this also helps with rebounding.
I guess I'm just looking at, like, I'd rather have Giannis than Jaylen against the Knicks, against Denver, against San Antonio, against OKC. I'd rather have a big. We're going to need a big. We're going to lose all these teams. These are the teams that are going. Cleveland, another one. I'd rather have the big. It's just every other team's got this, and we don't. And yet we're like, no, we'll figure it out. We're the only team in the world that doesn't care about centers. It's everyone else. Go ahead, pay them, overpay them. Not us.
Not us.
Not us. So maybe we'll figure it all out. But I think it makes too much sense. I think it's clearly what the rest of the league is asking for this. I think as we go through the draft right now, guys that are just bigger, I think are going to get pushed a little bit more higher. It'd be more of a lottery pick this year just because there's not that many of them and there's so many guards. And I don't think the league is just looking for more undersized guards. I think they want size. We are the only team in the world that seems to not be valuing that because we're like, we have 2 oversized forwards and shooting guards because that's where we can make up the length. It worked one year. Maybe it'll work again.
I think there's just more and more options. There's more options there. Not a ton of options, but I don't think that we should just fall into, all right, we're going to get Giannis. And part of it is if we get him, then we're going to want him to sign the extension. But then the extension, I mean, he's getting pretty old, by the end of this. And he's already having a lot of leg issues. And that just really concerns me of now we're paying Giannis in 2 years, 70-something million. And he's not out there, and it's just a mess. And now it's Tatum getting more and more miles put on him as we're trying to get in position for the playoffs.
Or we just run it back. We'll see. And we have Miami, which whatever's left over there. I still think we'll end up moving Brown, whether it's for Giannis or not. I just think that this is happening regardless. There's too much smoke here. He's already accepted it, which is a weird wording as well. Who knows whatever that means? It seems inevitable.
Sham says it wasn't, but once this stuff comes out, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Jaylen already seems pretty emotional or pretty sensitive about this, so it could turn into, at first was, it just in this specific instance, but once you kind of have this feeling that front office doesn't fully have your back, I think then when smaller things happen, it can turn a mountain out of a molehill, and then maybe that's just it gets in motion. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's tough, for management to have these conversations and to figure this out. But if anybody can do it, Brad can do it.
I agree with Brad. I agree Brad will figure it out. So if Brad thinks it's time, if this is the highest value we're ever going to get for Jaylen Brown, which is the other thing, is there a player maybe we can do better than Giannis? Is there someone else you would want? Giannis isn't good enough. Is there anyone good enough? Because this is the highest Brown's value is ever going to be.
Um, I'm trying to think if there's anybody off the top. It's like there's not. Like we won a championship with these two homegrown guys. They've been on the team for a long time together, and so I think that there's something to keeping the team together, building around it, and winning another championship with this group.
There's nobody in the league. Nobody. You wouldn't even trade Tatum for him, would you? I don't even know what that means.
What does that
I don't
mean?
know. I just want to hear you argue yourself for a second here. Nobody's as good as Jaylen Brown, and yet we got bounced in the first round with him, but nobody's as good as him.
I'm looking at the list of guys that are in the same making like the same type of money, and so Steph, no, too old. Joker, I'd be interested there, but Denver's never going to do it, and he's also not the youngest guy. Tatum's next. Davis, no. Giannis, I already said no. Joel Embiid, hell no. Devin Booker, no. Cat, no. Jimmy Butler, no. Paul George, no. Kawhi, no. Cade, no. Evan Mobley, no. Jamal Murray, no. Donovan Mitchell, no. Luka, I'm not dealing with the Lakers, and then we're at Fox. What are you seeing that's not just like more of a Cooper Flag or a pick in this year's draft that's supposed to be really well, lots of people are saying it's a very good draft. You are pumping the brakes on it, which I like. You're not falling on, just into the hype just for hype's sake. But any of these, I'm going to call them like established elite guys and not, well, yeah, you can get Cooper Flag on a rookie deal or, Wembanyama on a rookie deal. And, that's a whole other thing. Like those teams aren't going to trade them.
I think that's why you do the honest trade. Is you just eliminate everything. I went through it. I looked through it. You could even go look through the centers of possible trades that we could do of fill in the blanks of smaller pieces, not as big of moves. It's not out there. And Brad's looking, and I think this is looking like the best option. Other things just slowly get more eliminated as we get closer and closer. I also think, like you said, that the price might be dropping for Giannis. What if it's less? What if we could spin Brown for something else and then get even more out of all of this, and then only give them a little bit? I think that Miami offer sucks. Let's be honest. Nobody wants it. They would have taken it by now.
It's the poo-poo. It's the Bill Simmons poo-poo platter. If Hero is the main guy in that, I think it's very fair to say, even as a very biased Celtics fan, that Jaylen Brown is better than Tyler Hero. And then the other things that they're throwing in there, it seems like it's just quantity over quality.
It's a terrible offer. There's a reason nobody's taken it.
And do you think, do you think a Bam and Giannis pairing, does that get you much further past the play-in?
No, I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. It doesn't make any sense for anybody, which is why when the Celtics hang up and say, nope, it's either this or nothing, and they look at this Miami offer, they're looking at it right now because that's probably what happened. Is we have hardballed them to saying we would do this and this is it. And they're looking at this Miami
and we're not
offer.
Going back.
They're trying to look at this Miami offer and talk themselves into it. They'd be like, all right, well, we'll have this and we'll have Miles Turner, and nobody wants it because you're just turned into Miami.
I don't even think of it as you don't want this to be your main angle, but part of the angle being, all right, we have to try to get Giannis to make sure Miami doesn't get him. If the Miami trade goes through, I'm not looking at Miami and going, oh boy, another juggernaut in the East we got to deal with. It's just like, okay, Milwaukee is worse. Miami's a little bit better. Like maybe they sort of swap a little bit, and that's kind of it. I'm a little concerned with some of the Miles Turner news that came out, as well as Giannis is going to come with his brother, possibly multiple brothers, and I just remember when Dame was traded there, it was everyone got crazy excited that the pick and rolls are going to be out of control. And then the season started off. It actually wasn't that bad. They fired their coach, and then Doc came in, and it never turned into this cheat code that I think a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Also fair. And you think Giannis is responsible for that? You don't think Dame has a little bit of blame for any of that?
Sure. I'm okay with it being partial on both sides.
I also don't think that team, because they did the Dame trade and because they did the Dame trade after doing the Drew trade, they lost on so many deals that the players around them by this point, I just don't think that pick and roll was actually going to be their best option anymore. It was almost like, well, there's only two guys we need to defend. We'll just defend the only two guys. Forget about the other guys in the corner. Who's that? They can find one guy to make a shot on that team forever. Versus, I think in Boston, you're gonna have a lot of shooters around Giannis. I think that's kind of the ideal guys you want to put around him. And it also goes against the thing that everyone hates about Missoula ball is too many threes. Well, Giannis is not going to shoot threes. He's going to get rebounds off threes. He's going to get other guys open threes. I just think it's a good fit. I think the Bam thing, though, you're right.
The thing that's going to drive us both crazy is that we were talking about hypotheticals, and in the next 24 hours, this trade is going to go through, which is, for us doing a weekly podcast, is the absolute worst time for us professionally.
Let's see. We got a new Sham tweet. Diarra with the Knicks is going to resign. False news. I've been refreshing this as we go, and something finally popped up. I was like, oh, whoa, what do we got here?
That's fair, and I've been on X and today, and anytime I see the breaking, I am just prepared, and then it's something else. So no, very, very fair. You're plugged in. We're trying to do the best we can here.
All right, let's talk about the actual draft. I'm out on a lot of players. You're in on a little bit more than I am. I don't think this is that good of a draft. I think this class is loaded with undersized scoring guards. The Trae Young types, of which I think best case scenario out of these guys is that they're CJ McCollum levels. Like, that's best case scenario. I think they should bring back the amnesty clause for this draft because I think this is the most overrated draft in a really long time. I think every one of these contracts, when they renew, they're going to be scratching their heads being like, I don't know if I want to renew with any of these guys.
At the top, or just like throughout? Because there's definitely, like, this draft, there's talk of, there's the top four like are a cut above, but then even afterwards, there's still, like, it's a very popular draft.
Well, I guess I'll just start ripping everything apart here because I don't think it's top four for one. It's a top three. I don't think Caleb Wilson is a top 10 player. I think his footwork's bad. I love the effort. That's great. It's the try hard effort is great, but I don't think he has the size that try hard stuff's going to work against NBA guys. I just don't see it. I don't think he's a good enough shooter. Maybe.
Yeah. Tell him. You tell him, Will. Tell him how bad Caleb Wilson is. Tell us some more. Tell us some more of his weaknesses.
I think he's bad at defense. I don't think he's a good rim protector for what you're going to be going against. Again, go watch the finals.
Maybe he makes poor choices. Maybe just like, his mind isn't in the right spot all the time.
I wouldn't even say that. The passing is fine. I think those sort of passes, again, aren't going to work as well in the NBA as well. Guys are longer. They're watching film a little bit better. They're just better at defense. I would be really out on him. Now, that being said, because I'm out on him, I'm slightly gaining a lot more ground on all the other bigs because if you're out on him, there's nothing but guards here. So, like, I think Mara is going to have to go sooner for Michigan just because it's just pure size. It makes no sense at all. I don't think he's actually that good, but I think teams are going to be desperate for size that's cheap.
Just to keep it all Michigan all wrapped together here, you have Mara, who's enormous. But Caleb Wilson, he's more of a forward. Would you not go with some of the other Michigan guys first, whether it be Yaxel or Johnson?
I like both of them a lot. I had Yaxel 9 in my rankings.
The age doesn't concern you?
No, I just think fit. Again, I think you're not going to have to work on anything. I think on day one, this guy's just going to hop in. If he's on the right team, if he goes to a good team, you're going to be like, this is the easiest draft pick in the world. He just fit. He rebounds, he passes, he could shoot. I think there's just versatility over there. Now, there isn't like star power, but I think there's like reliable role player that everyone's going to want to trade for in a couple of years. Yeah, I mean, God forbid he went to like OKC or something. You don't think that'd be a good pick of just like, all right, we got some experience. This guy can, like everyone else on this team, do a little bit of everything.
It's tough to throw the OKC out there because it's, all right, they're not the defending champions, but champions and just went to the Western Conference Finals, absolutely loaded, where he doesn't have to come in and do anything. They can pick their spots. They can stick him in the G League for half the year. They can just have him say, like, you will do this specific role, and it's not a tanking team where the structure isn't there. It's go out there, take bad shots, play a little bit of defense. Who cares if you get burned? Just go out there, just have fun. It's like no, we have a winning culture. We have certain expectations. I think just anyone that goes to OKC is just going to have an advantage.
So I'm out on Caleb Wilson. My player comp would be Tyrese Thomas, which is hilarious to me that if the Bulls end up taking him, that it was just like, great, another athlete that can dunk. His highlights look great. This is totally going to translate to the NBA. And then it's like, no, this guy's not that great of a defender, actually. He's kind of smaller than a lot of these guys. Oh, the shots really, he's not making free throws. He's doing all these passes and just turning the ball over all the time. I think I would stay away from that. That's me personally. Other guys I'm out on, Nate Emmett. I don't think he's a top 10 player either. Maybe a top 10 athlete in this draft. Unfortunately, you got to be good at basketball in the league now. So like this is another big guy that I don't see the skill set or the athleticism outweighing how bad the other skill set is. I think that's a very risky play. You're really banking on future promises for where you're drafting him. I would stay away from that. Any opinion
Nate Emmett? He was one of the ones that I had as that underwhelmed on. So you can get Nate Emmett outside the top 10 plus 220. So I think he'll get drafted outside the top 10.
Now, he might be a good enough athlete that he'll end up looking decent in this, it's kind of a stacked undersized guard draft class here. I'm of the guards, though, I do have an interesting rankings. Did you rank them by any chance? Just the guards?
I didn't do an official ranking.
All right, we're just gonna. I have Peterson 1. I don't think that's new. I think I've said that on the podcast. We don't need to go back and forth about all that.
I have Cam. I have Cam at 1. I'm hearing a buzz, and you get 30-1 odds. So keep that in mind.
Honestly, I'm starting to feel like that might actually happen, where they're getting so spooked out by these other two guys, and it's such a safe bet.
I don't like it. It shouldn't happen. I obviously don't expect it to happen at 30-1 odds, but at 30-1, and just the way I think the teams this year, or maybe just in general, are getting a lot better. It wasn't that long ago in the Tatum draft where just teams came right out and said, "Yeah, we're going to draft this guy." It's like you guys know if you don't say who you're going to draft, you might be able to spook the other team into giving you something for a player you weren't even interested in. But it seems like there's leanings and what might happen, but definitely the teams haven't come out and kind of sillily said, yeah, we're taking this guy.
There's definitely leverage advantages, and I think there's teams that aren't even in the top that are trying to maybe just make a couple calls. And then I think if you announce who you're taking, the calls aren't going to come because you don't know who they're calling about. Maybe they're calling about one of the three here. I can see it happening. This is almost like in the league where I forget which character it was. He lets the other character be like, you can set my lineup. You can do whatever you want. And he completely overthinks it. And it's like, this is how Cam Boozer ends up going 1, where he just has overthought AJ and Darren and read everything and too much information consumed. And they just end up going with Boozer. So I do think it's possible. But if I were to continue to rank some guards here, Boozer's not a guard, but I don't know where you would have put AJ, but I think Peterson's is easily the best player and the best guard. I would have Wagler as the second best, Acuff as the third, Mikael Brown as the fourth, and then this is where it gets a little wonky here. There's a whole bunch of players over here where I think Kingston Flemings is super athletic, but I kind of like Christian Anderson a little bit more from Texas Tech, if I'm being honest. I think it's just a better shot. I saw some really big games out of him. He seems very comfortable, but that's kind of not the popular opinion. There's a lot of other guards I think that are projected to go ahead of that, but Christian Anderson from Texas Tech, I think just shooting-wise and playmaking-wise and size-wise, I would rather have him over Phylon, Cameron Carr, a lot of these other guys. Burries, I'm not really in out. I couldn't be more out on both Arizona guys, unfortunately. I'm out on Braden Burries, and I'm out on Cole Pete. Good luck. I think his shot's too slow, Burries, to be a good shooter, and Cole Pete can't shoot. So that's, sorry, conversation's over here. Am I wrong about either of those?
Basketball in the NBA, you do need to shoot.
I just don't see it. Again, this is another one where I'm saying I don't think they're good enough at the other things to overcome not being able to shoot, or I don't think he's a good enough shooter to be undersized for Burries. And I don't think he's good enough at the other stuff. I don't think he's good enough at defense, and I don't think he's good enough playmaker, at least in comparison to a lot of the other guys up here. I think it's tough. Anything about all those guards stick out because, like I said, I kind of skipped a few here.
I think one of the ones to take a look at is Mikael Brown Jr. I was listening to one of the Ringer podcasts, and they had a good inner sport comparison. It's just he's either striking out or hitting a home run, and there's nothing in between. And so he's definitely exciting, and I would take him after Acuff, but Acuff is different where phenomenal on offense, but his defense is just non-existent. So if he is on the wrong team, I don't want to say he's not going to be playable, but it is going to be such a struggle. So he's really got to go to a spot where they either already have defenders on the team that they can put around him, but that's something where there's going to be some fans that are watching the highlights and seeing his Arkansas highlights and going, "This guy is amazing." But everyone that is a college basketball fan and watch the games are going to go, "He's going to drive you crazy." When it's guys are going past him, it's got some of that Harden, the controller just ran out of batteries and the guy's cut back door. So I think Acuff is the one that of the kind of higher drafted guards that could really just drive a fan base crazy.
Yeah, I think Phylon. I put a player comp as like Lou Williams. Like he's really comfortable with ball pressure and he could dribble well, but he's still kind of like not that great of a passer for getting into hard positions. I feel like he just takes tough shots sometimes, and maybe they'll go in, maybe they won't. But I think that's like Lou Williams made a career off of that. And again, I don't know if that's a top 10 guy I want to take a chance on. Like, is Lou Williams a top 10 guy for you?
I would not in this draft.
Not in this draft. Not in this draft. All right, what do we like about this draft? That's everything I kind of don't like. I've trashed everything. We got to bring it up a little bit here. Who are some of the guys you think are going to surpass our expectations?
So I had Cam going one, 30 to 1 odds, just out of nowhere, and everyone's looking back going, "How did this happen?" And then they go and talk and say, "Oh no, we liked what we saw on film, this and that. He's a winner." It seems like you really can't go wrong with a son of a former NBA player. So just like kind of raising the floor, if that's even a real thing. And so that's the homer pick. But just to show you that I'm unbiased and really look through this, my other one was I think Alex Caravan. I think he's going to be a first round pick. You could get that plus 260. So almost between 2-1 and 3-1 odds. I just think that he was at UConn for a while. He was part of all of the success that they had, and I think that a lot of times at the college level, you have to almost maybe like have like a gimmick or something for it to work, and then it doesn't work at the next level. I don't think that his game was a gimmick. I think that in the past maybe 3 or 4 years, I think it might have to do with the new salary cap rules of it used to be, hey, we just want the youngest possible guy, get him in, we'll like take care of him and get him, trained up, and then he'll be at the next level. But now I think it's you don't have that luxury, and so you kind of have to have a guy that can play right away on that rookie deal. So I think he's a guy that you can plug in. He played for 4 years for an absolute madman. So any coach that he goes to, he's gonna. I think he'll enjoy that change of scenery.
I think the history of the UConn draft picks has aged very well to the point where I'm really using a lot of bias of the success of the past and looking at Terrace Reed and Caravan and saying the same thing. I think these are definitely first round picks, especially with the lack of big men in here. I think Terrence Reed should easily climb up here. These are two guys based on where they're projected. I think the Celtics should give a really serious look at least one of them. Is there? That's kind of what I had for the Celtics. Is there other players you think the Celtics should keep an eye on? What are we at? 28,
27.
27.
So I have the homer pick, and then I have like I guess more of a real pick. The homer pick is to go get Isaiah Evans. Whether we get Giannis or we don't get Giannis, having a guy that is not afraid to shoot and can absolutely hit and get on fire. It seems like Hauser is continually on in these trade talks, and so if he's one of the guys that gets kind of moved on, and again, this is late in the first round. If these guys can crack the rotation, awesome. I am not expecting Isaiah Evans to come in this year and be able to contribute to a contending team, but you can kind of slide him in behind Shireman. You can slide him in behind Hugo, and then in a few years, he's the one that's getting the opportunity. I think you similar to there's a lot of talk about going after it was Kentucky guards, but really it's going after Calipari guards, and those guards are 5 stars. Evan's 5-star guy coming out of high school. So I think that's always a good thing. 2 years under Shire. And then my, I guess, not biased pick would be Alan Graves from Santa Clara. I won't pretend like I was watching a lot of Santa Clara games, but we're going to need 3-and-D guys. So similar to the arguments with Isaiah, I don't think Alan Graves is as good as a shooter, but I think that he's definitely like a beefier guy, and might be able to figure out or maybe not figure out, be able to handle the defensive assignments a little bit faster.
I had Evans 29. I had Graves 28. I had Caravan
Okay.
25. And I had Reed 21. But again, I'm ranking this a little bit on. I don't like a lot of the guards. There's too many of them, and the bigs are kind of like the bigs are overranked in these rankings. So like that's why I have Reed there. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But of a guard or a player that I think will be in the Celtics range that I think is better than the guys we've already talked about, but maybe isn't the better fit. Like all the other guys you mentioned, we could plug in, like you said, they could be good role players. They can do all this. But I think Joshua Jefferson from Iowa State has a little bit more of an X factor, which I don't know what the ceiling is. But I also worry if he doesn't get enough run, we might not ever get to see that ceiling. Versus a lot of the other guys you mentioned, Caravan. Hey, man, just come and bang a couple threes. I already know what you're going to do. We don't need to work on nothing. This is what you're coming in to do already. Versus Jefferson getting to the ball a little bit more. I don't know if he's going to get that. But that's who I would take a look at if I was taking the best player available for Boston. I think Joshua Jefferson would be that guy. Other guys within the draft, anyone you want to talk about specifically that we haven't?
Another one, you mentioned you got to go through all your negatives, and I echoed the Amet one. I'm going with Zuby outside the first round, so kind of a switcheroo with Alex Caravan. You can get that at plus 210. I think he had a good year last year for St. John's. It's just I think he has a cool name, so I think especially with the gambling, it's just he jumps out. You play for Rick Pitino. You're in St. John's. We know how stuff with New York City works. I think that the front offices are just gonna be a little more locked in, looking at what he actually does, and I think he's gonna slide outside of the first round.
I had him 30. I don't feel great about it. I just feel like somebody else is going to fall for the trap that you just said, where they're going to see some highlights and they're going to look at that compared to some of the other guys' mixtapes, and they're just going to get fooled. And they're going to look at the second round guys and be like, all right, I guess this is it. I'm with you. I wouldn't say it's the most attractive pick here. There's a lot of good St. John big men, and I think there's more coming, but this might not be one of them that I think will age into the NBA very gracefully. Other guys you're out on? Is that it?
Those were the two main ones. I'm happy to also be out on Caleb Wilson, but that's just personal vendetta there.
I had him 11. It's not great. The fact that he might even go in the top 3 in some of these rumors is just a joke to me. The fact he's in like that first tier you talked about, I think that's a silly decision. I don't know who's negotiating, what leverage they're gaining out of all of this, but that's like when he goes out of the top 10 now, do you think is anyone going to apologize to this kid after all this? They used all this leverage. I think that's what's going to happen.
That's a ways down all the way out.
Yeah, I don't like it. I kind of like the Sturts kid. You think he'll be able to play off ball? It was so much usage for Iowa that I don't think he's he's not going to get anywhere near that amount of usage. He's not going to have the ball in his hand that much. But do you think he can make some good decisions off ball? Maybe come off the bench?
I think he's going to have to.
Yeah, but you think he can? Because he didn't do it at all. He had no off ball shooting.
I think all off the ball stuff. I think that's the easiest thing to work on, because you can work on that, just with a trainer. So, but I'm not concerned about that.
See, I disagree, because that's my least favorite thing about everybody in this draft class, and why I don't think it's very good. Nobody in this draft class is good off ball beyond Laxell. I don't think anyone else is really that good off ball. I don't think there's much 3-and-D guys on here. They're all scorers. They're good with the ball in their hands. They're not going to have the ball in their hands like they did in college, as well as they're not going to attack the college's defenses anymore. They'll be attacking NBA defenses. So I think
that's every year, though. The guys that are going to make it to the NBA, they're scorers at all the other levels, and it's about what you're saying about how do you figure out what your role is and how you fit in everywhere else.
I just think last year's draft class figured that out immediately, and I didn't have any hesitation about any of them. it looks like it's just Harper now, but it's like, no, I think Khan is great off ball. I think that's the perfect example of all this. I think Edgecombe is pretty good off ball. He's able to attack. I just think all those guys fit in a lot easier than any of these guys are going to. And maybe it's just a destination thing. Maybe the guys went to the right homes last year, but I don't know. If they're that good of players, it shouldn't matter what homes they go to. They should be able to make an impact on all of this. But Cam Boozer's he'll be good off ball. I'll give you that. I just think his shot's a little slow, but there's not a lot of great examples of guys here that are good without the ball in their hands.
I would have been interested for it's possible now, but if we could go back a year to look at those guys before they got to the NBA to see kind of how you felt.
Maybe. I think we got a lot of ball hogs coming in the league. A lot of headaches, as you mentioned, coming in. This is we need to put back the amnesty clause. This is from this draft. This is what's going to bring it back. This is going to be the draft of the worst contracts going forward. Simmons is going to list all of these guys.
Well, I will mark that down, and so in 8 years, when they're signing the really big contracts, we can visit it.
No, we'll visit it sooner when they have their own show on the Ringer, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is all the gang from then. This is what we're doing now."
Well, no, that's totally different. If they don't pan out, that's different from getting paid.
That's true. It's a big difference. I guess I'm assuming new owner syndrome is going to cause some of these guys to just overpay somebody here. But maybe the owners are smart now. You know, the Knicks
But that's
won.
the thing. You can't overpay for the rookies.
Not yet.
The rookie scale is locked in, so that's where, and even the second rookie deal is pretty much locked in. And it's not till that third deal that's when you can really make some mistakes. $80 million a year. That's probably what we're going to be looking at when these guys are in the mix.
All right. Well, I continuously refresh the Shams thing here. There's a trade coming. We talked about the Giannis one. I imagine there's another one coming on draft day, possibly related to some of the guys we've already talked about. But let's do a little hypotheticals here. Which team do you think needs to make a trade in the draft? Like, they don't need a draft pick, or they need to switch their draft pick. Who needs to do a trade on draft night?
So the team that needs to get out, it's the Clippers. Clippers have the Pacers pick at 5. The Clippers are very much still win now. I have to imagine Ballmer is still, hey, we need to win now. And they still have Kawhi. They don't really have a lot beyond their top guys. So they're going to need to fill this out. They have some money flexibility. And I just don't think that them getting the 5th pick and putting in some real young guy, especially at 5, it's not one of the top 3 guys. I don't really think that's going to move the needle for them. So I think that they should be moving out of that. I think the team that needs to be moving in is the Pelicans. And I think that Clippers should get whatever they possibly can from the Pelicans and see if the Pelicans will make another mistake. And all of a sudden the Clippers are going to go, oh yes, actually, that sounds awesome for us. We will take all of these guys. So those are the 2 teams that I would like to get together and chat.
Are the Clippers and OKC allowed to talk to each other still? Can we just swap those 2 for that 1 pick? Is that too easy? Are we allowed to do that?
Which picks are they switching?
All right, so OKC's got 12 and 17 for 5.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
No?
12 and 17 to me, that's not 5. 12 and 17, that gets you maybe to 9.
All right. I just talking.
I think OKC would have to add more in.
They could. But I and that could be how they get more out of this too, and then they get 2 more swings on might be similar swings than what you were going to take at 5 anyways. I just that's what I would do. I would trade back. I would try to get more picks. If it's not just 1 swing, it'd be multiple swings, and maybe we get something out of all of this. Because I don't know if they're going to get it at 5, and I think it's way too much pressure for a guy that's probably not going to end up playing on this roster. So I'm with you. I think that's be the team that I would try to get out of the first round here. I think Chicago too they're in a bad spot, man. I feel like Caleb Wilson is a trap and that they're being forced to take it, and they're going to get crushed either way. They're going to get crushed for taking him. They're going to get crushed for not taking him. If there would be an offer out there to just bail them out, I would take it. I don't know what the player is, but I imagine you could do better than what you're going to get out of Caleb Wilson at 4, hypothetically. But that's a team I think should trade out of the first round.
It's Chicago. They're going to be almost in the play-in next year, and that's just where they live. That's their home now.
All right, Tyrus Thomas coming back to the Chicago area. Is that a bad player comp? I feel like I nailed that. I don't know. Or is that too old of a comp? Does our audience know?
I I think some of the audience does and some of the audience doesn't.
All right, other
We have
other
a diverse audience, you know?
other NBA news. Dusty May is leaving Michigan and will be joining the Mavericks as the head coach. Wow. I did not have this on my calendar. We were waiting for a Giannis trade all day. I'm still kind of in awe of all of this happening. And it's a good move, and it kind of makes sense. I didn't realize it was on the table. Did you?
Did not. I think that Dusty has been pretty clear. I think during the Final Four, there were some other jobs that came up, and there was assurance that no, not taking it. I think the timing is a little bit odd. They won the national championship, almost two plus months ago, as well as the Mavericks season. It was basically over at the same time. So just you waited a while. I don't know. Maybe he was really kind of hemming and hawing. I think it's got to be tough to leave. You're the defending national champions. The team is definitely was going to be ready for another Final Four run with the way the college rules work now. The transfer portal for everybody else is closed, but when your coach leaves, it opens for 15 days. Now it sounds like they're going to get one of the assistants to be the interim coach, but I mean, a lot of times these guys, it's not necessarily loyalty to the school, it's loyalty to the coach. And so if the coach is leaving, I think I would be surprised if it's 100% they all stay.
I think I would be shocked too. And that's what happens to every other coach. Do you know any other program that could keep every player after the coach left? It doesn't happen.
That's what I mean. It's a no. It's not their fault at all. It's a change in the leadership. So and it gives you an opportunity to reevaluate. And maybe you're kind of on the fence, but you said, hey, you got the coach. We're defending champs. Now we're going to do it. And then it only takes one or two guys to leave, and they got a coach going to the NBA. And we just talked about three other guys being either lottery or lottery adjacent. So it makes sense on why they're such a good team, but they were going to be bringing another pretty stellar team back.
My turn to be biased as a Michigan State fan here. This was excellent news. I'm not saying it was dismantled overnight, but there's no way this team is a better team today than they were yesterday. So I will take it. I won't even, flirt with the idea of the potential of, I don't know, we're just down the road over here. We got room for some players. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. They're going to go somewhere. Don't need to, move or do anything. Or is it that you can't go to a rival? Like, do they have to leave the conference? I mean, what are the rules here, Zach?
Don't have to. I think you might think of them as their rival. I'm not sure if they think of you as their rival, so you got to deal with that. But we're going kind of personal. I wasn't concerned that Shire was leaving, but I have to imagine there were a whole bunch of Michigan fans that also weren't concerned. And then this morning, as they were looking for Giannis news, and then find out that this happened, yeah, definitely a little bit of a punch in the gut for them. But glad that now most of the NBA jobs are full. It sounded like they made several runs at Shire, and they've had to make several runs at Dusty, and just pretty incredible for Dusty May of takes Florida Atlantic to the Final Four. They lose at the at the buzzer. Had a decent chance to be in the championship game. Coaches one more year there. They get picked up by Michigan, and in 2 years turns them into a national champion. And now you're in the NBA. This is all not even just like since COVID. It's just even a little more recent than that. Just huge meteoric run.
I don't think it's just you're in the NBA either. He's got Cooper Flag.
You got Coop. Yep.
I think that's. Are you doing it for any other reason? I mean, I think it's that.
It definitely is it's a good way to attract that sort of talent.
All right, other NBA news. CJ McCollum got paid. He's coming back to Atlanta. I think that's a miss for a lot of other teams. Are the Knicks worried? You think the Knicks should just went for him?
I think they should have, yeah. Just paid him.
That all makes
Brunson's
sense.
Back up and just get him off to the side. No, it was nothing crazy. 1 year, $21 million. He's older, but he had a good run in the playoffs, and just glad that he's sticking with Atlanta. I think it's going to be helpful for them to just have an adult in the room. He's not going to be able to shoulder that load, especially through an entire regular season. But I think it's good to try to continue with that, building that continuity post Trae Young.
Now, that wasn't so shocking, but Trae Young also opted out and is opting into another big contract. Was there a little concern that maybe he wasn't going to be opting back in, or we always knew this guy was taking his money?
I thought that it was pretty funny that when he opted out, that there was some sort of comment kind of along the lines of, "Yeah, we think there's a bunch of interest out there, so we're gonna entertain if there's any max deals available." And I just said, "Yep, that is the negotiating tactic. That is what you have to say. But there is no way any team is giving Trae Young this year a max contract."
What did that last? 12 hours before there was a new tweet of like, nope, he's opted into this new deal.
It was half a week.
All right. It felt like it was overnight almost of like, yeah, there's nothing but crickets. Nobody's offering him anything. There's a reason he was traded to this team. This is the only team that was going to give him the money. I'm not shocked by it. But this team also, I don't think had any idea that they were going to get the first overall pick. And now that really changes some stuff. I mean, are you buying in if you're Trae? Are you like what you got going on? You got your money now. You got, Anthony Davis, and you have a number one pick. Are you happy?
Maybe Anthony Davis. Maybe that. I think this is a payday. You take. We've seen this time and time again. You take the payday and then you worry about the future later. Take the payday. By Christmas, if this isn't working out, you don't like it. You don't like these young guys that you're running with. You just go, I don't want to play here anymore. I want to play somewhere else. And they'll go, oh, okay, yes, sir. You're the player. Players League. Where do you want to go? And then he'll get moved. But he didn't get the max. I don't think that was ever on the table anywhere. But I still think that 52, I'm sure it's probably kind of prorated at some level, but just the average is going to be $52 million a year. That's crazy. That's crazy money. So that starts next year. That will put him in between Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. If you're looking for a little bit younger, that puts him between Cade Cunningham and Karl Anthony Towns.
Wow, we're doing great. We're doing great. Well, the draft's tomorrow. Giannis will be a Celtic next week when we return. Are we back next Monday? Or are we doing an emergency podcast the second Giannis says he's a Celtic in 2 minutes here? Like I'm gonna hit the outro music. We're gonna wrap up. How soon is this gonna drop?
I guess this morning that it's going to be tomorrow morning.
I think it's tonight.
I think these are two, not non-Pacific teams. Like it's not East Coast, but more Eastern. So I think this will be you wake up first thing, slept on it, and then it gets decided to tomorrow morning. It won't be 3:00 in the morning Eastern time when some West Coast teams are dealing.
I think like the 15 minutes it takes me to upload this, once we're done, that's what's going to happen. And this podcast will be irrelevant.
I have been just watching Kalshi this entire time, and about halfway through the podcast, it had gotten down to where it was legitimately a 50-50, an equal coin flip, where it was 47 Celtics, 47 Heat. And then in about the last 2 minutes, it has rocketed up to the Celtics at 65%, and Miami at 32%. So
it's a wrap.
Maybe stuff's going on.
He's coming. The Greek freak. I'm excited to have a Greek in Boston. 2 of them, 3 of them if we need it. We might need roster spots.
however many they need.
The energy's going to be great. All right, the vibes are going to be fun. You guys think the vibes are going to be such a bummer? They're not. They're going to be fun. I think these guys are good bench models, right? The role players are what Boston loves, right? They're going to love these guys.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's a big change. All right, I'm going to hit the outro music for real. Anything else we didn't get to today?
USA won again.
Victory.
No goals. We didn't give up any goals, so that's 2-0. And then the way things worked out, we got just a little scrimmage for our next game. We're playing in the knockout round, and I believe that knockout round game will be while I am in England. And I think at one point there was a chance it could be against Great Britain while I was over there on the 4th of July. I don't think I would have survived that. So glad that doesn't seem like it's working. But that'll definitely be a interesting way to consume soccer. Is doing it that way.
Yeah, they're not going to call it soccer out there, but that's all right. That'll be fun. A lot of international things going on right now. It's the only real sports. It's fun as we get a little bit closer and get out of the group play here. I mean, Messi continues to be amazing. I don't know how somebody who managed to win this thing last time is suddenly better this year at whatever age it is.
I thought he was done.
This was supposed to be a victory lap. Yes, there was concerns.
I thought like years ago, not maybe not years, that may sound like, but like a couple years ago when he came to play for the MLS and he was going to go play for Miami, that was almost just like an NBA guy that goes to China, where it's like, sweet, I'm going to get paid. I am riding off into the sunset. I'm not good enough to play at like the highest level, but I can still play, you know, a step or two removed, and I can still make a ton of money they want to throw at me. Awesome. So I mean, I'm hearing some kind of negative things about Ronaldo, where it sounds like it's kind of the opposite situation, where it's like, why are they throwing him out here? Like he should not be out here in these crunch time minutes. I thought that's kind of more what it was going to be, but for right now, I mean, he's scoring at just an alarming pace. I don't even like, even as a guy from afar, I can point out like this is ridiculous.
It's pretty ridiculous. It shouldn't be possible. It's not that easy. This is it's really hard. Like, it shouldn't be somebody getting better at this age, having his best World Cup better than the last time, it's just crazy. It shouldn't be possible, and yet it is. And that's the fun thing about the World Cup, though. The only thing I'll say about the Ronaldo thing is I might opt into the idea of bringing him off the bench and maybe having some momentum and using it more as a positive rather than a negative the entire time where we're all just begging for something to happen. I think those days might be gone. But it's good coaching. You got to manipulate this to your benefit. That's the only thing I throw out there. Obviously, Messi, do whatever you're doing. It continues to work, and I don't think anyone else is ever going to do anything quite like this. So, reminder to subscribe, little column A, little column B. You can get us wherever you get your podcast. You can follow Zach on his X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man24.
And we'll be back next week with a whole bunch of NBA news. It feels like the landscape is about to change any day now. We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.